And so if you are uncomfortable with being recorded, you can just turn your video off. Okay. So good evening, everyone. Good
Good
evening, good
evening.
Hi.
evening, evening.
Good
Thank you so
evening.
much for joining us tonight. This is Cancer Support Team Survivor Support Group meeting. I am excited about tonight. How about you?
Yes, very much.
Yep.
Great. So let me tell you a little bit. I was going to play my video, let, but I think I'm just going to give my little, you know, elevator speech. So Cancer Support Team, our mission is to empower, inspire, encourage individuals impacted by cancer. That includes survivors and caregivers and any other family member that is also impacted. We provide free wigs through our Crowning Star Wig program. We provide care bags, and we also do one-on-one support when individuals is not comfortable in a group setting such as this. Every month, the first Wednesday of the month, we host, just like tonight, our cancer survivor support group meeting. For our cancer caregiver, we host every quarter. So our next caregiver support group meeting will be the second Wednesday in July. But not to worry, if you have any concerns or need support, please, please, please reach out to us. We are doing wonderful things, and I'm looking to expand and grow CST. One of the newer things that I'm looking for is to start a outreach committee. And so the outreach committee will consist of, I'm looking for about 10 or 15 people, so that when we have things to do, it's not the same people always to have to do it. So I'm looking for people to do outreach, community outreach, where we go to events and host vendor tables. When we start having our own events, we want to make sure that we have volunteers to assist us with that, such as registration, maybe buying the gifts for us, for our door prizes, putting those things together, putting care bags together. So there's a lot of different tasks that can be done for our volunteers. But so that's my goal, is to get about 10 to 15 ladies to help us move this. There are several grants that's out there that CST is unable to go for because we don't have the people to support the program. Okay, and so it's important that we have the people ready to roll when these opportunities come up. Let's see, what else is new? I did submit a grant for an outreach in our under-resourced community, and I was able to get 4 letters of support, which was fantastic. One from Apostolic, one from Pat Jackson at Advocate Christ Hospital, one from Dawn, who's always been there for us with the care bags, and the special one I got was from Dr. Tamara, that's over the YAS group in University of Illinois in Chicago. She sent hers late, but she did an email to the person that's overseeing the grant program and stated to them, here's my letter. It wasn't her fault, it was my fault for sending it to her later. And so they accepted it. So I think we got a pretty darn good chance of getting that grant.
Mhm.
Okay.
Yes.
Yeah.
So the
You know what?
grant is a 2-year, $20,000 grant. And what they're looking for is for CST to host events and to talk about their, what is it that they're doing? They're doing some laboratory research as far as breast cancer is concerned. And so they're targeting underserved communities and want us to host at least 2 events, so one each year. And when we host those events, one of our menu items need to be talking about their particular program and how they can help our community. Okay, so it's been very good. Another good thing is that I completed the 14-week co-hosting of the Breast Cancer Survivorship Virtual Learning Collaborative, and they asked me to co-host the next one.
Whoa.
All right.
Yeah, so I'm excited about that. Yes, dear.
Oh, Karen, I wrote you because I wanted information on that. Maybe it was your computers. I didn't hear back. I wanted information on that one and something through your church, but I hadn't heard back from you. So maybe my message didn't get to you. I don't know.
Yeah, that's fine. And so, thank you, Kim. The next thing is I will be facilitating a 5-week class at Christ Universal Temple. You don't have to be a member. Just go on the website, and I'll provide the website in the chat. It's a 5-week. The book is called The Wealth. What is it? The Wisdom Book?
Ms. Karen, I have a question. Is it hybrid or is it in person? I'm sorry to interrupt you.
No, it's just online.
Oh, so it's just virtual. Okay,
Yeah, it's just
and we have to
virtual.
get the book. We have to purchase.
Yes.
Can you pass that information along if you don't mind?
I would definitely do that.
Thank you. I appreciate it. I'm sorry for interrupting.
No, not at all. And I will also
It's the wellness class.
the wellness, class. That's the name of it. Okay. So yes. So so I need to do my book so I can get my syllabus together, add my outline and everything. So, but anyway, it starts May the 15th, right, Sandra? May the 15th. So I would love it if you guys would kind of chime in and support me in that effort. Actually, that's it for CST/Karen Hall, because other things is really under Karen Hall and not CST. But I just like to talk. So on our agenda, let me look at my agenda. My agenda here. Since my printer has decided that it does not want to work today. So that's okay. Okay. Things happen. Hello, Sonia.
Hello, everyone.
Hi. And so I'm going to do something just a little bit different because Ali, he came up with the title of our class tonight. Let's talk about it. Okay. So let's talk about it. And so I'm going to do a little bit different. We always do an icebreaker, right?
Right.
So I'm not going to do the icebreaker. What I'm going to do is a 1-minute mindful meditation. Are you guys good with that?
That's fine.
Cool. So I'm going to share my screen. Okay. And 1 minute. Come on. My screen has been really doing really crazy stuff. Oh, it's going so slow. I'm not quite sure if my computer is coming, guys. Hold on.
You want to send it to me, Miss Karen, and see if I can do it faster? The agenda?
The agenda? Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, I'm waiting on my mindfulness to come up. I can't hear you. Am I the one that's frozen?
Can you hear me now?
Yes, I can hear you now.
Okay. It's coming up now. You good?
Yeah,
Okay, yes, ma'am.
okay. Almost, guys. Okay, we always got to have a commercial first, right?
Mhm.
Because in a minute, we're gonna have to all have to pay for this, right? Come on. Okay, it doesn't appear that it's gonna work for me. Okay, here we go. And let me know if you can hear this. Erica,
It's freezing on my end.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah.
Nothing.
can you
Yeah. It's kind of
hear
it's
it?
running, but we can't hear anything, Miss Karen.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's froze.
Is Ali around? Maybe he can unfreeze it.
Okay, all right. So that's my backup plan. Let's go back and close that. Let's go back and do our icebreaker. So I got a good one. I had a good one in line for y'all. So here it is. What is the craziest dare you have ever taken?
Crazy as dare.
I've never done a dare.
Me
You
either. I
never
don't
done a
think I
dare?
have. Mm-mm.
Okay, that's okay. Who's done a dare?
I didn't do
I
a
did.
dare, but maybe I did. I was told when I was learning how to ski in Colorado not to go by the trees. And I only ended up there because I had no lessons. I was tired of picking myself up for 2 hours. And I ended up where I was going downhill and I went between slopes and they said, don't do it, but they didn't tell me why. And I ended up on a black diamond, which is the most extreme expert level. And I went down that hill out of control. And I'm lucky I was from Chicago and played sports and knew how to wipe out. And I was wearing my parka and I just wiped out about 5 feet from the lift line. They were clapping, thinking I knew what I was doing. And it was like I was a daredevil, and yet it wasn't intentional, but I was just beat from because my husband at the time, he gave me a 2-minute lesson and took off. So, gave me these rules. But I ended up, I was okay. But when I look back, I can't believe that I made it through that. And it was rather comical for the people in line. They thought it was pretty cool what I did, and maybe because I was laughing, but I think I was scared coming down. But
oh, I'm sure you were scared.
Yeah, I know I was scared because I knew I was out of control. But they thought because I wiped out and didn't hit the lift line, I think they thought I knew what I was doing. But it worked out.
Good. Who else? Cassandra, did I see your hand up?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
So back in the day when we were in high school, me and some of my friends was like, your parents didn't allow you to color your hair. So I ended up getting some Kool-Aid and some peroxide and colored my hair, and I looked like one of the Rainbow Bright kids when I finished. And I came out, and my parents was like, "Oh, you thought you was grown," and made me go to school like that. I looked a hot mess, hot mess. And I had to keep my head like that until Easter.
Oh, wow. Anybody
So
else
just know
have?
that I was a hat wearing chick. That's all I got.
Right, right. Anybody else have a crazy dare?
Yes, I have one in my childhood. And
Okay.
that was the time that I was learning how to ride a bike. And my
Mhm.
father told me that you can ride a bike like this, you can hold a handle like this, and race also about clutch and gear. And when he give me a bike to ride, I just ride, and in first circle, I leave my hands, and I show my dad that I can ride a bike without holding handle.
Yeah,
Well, I was
yeah.
safe at that moment because I won't fall down, but uh, my father was very angry at that moment. And for about 12 years, he did not allow me to ride a bike.
Oh, shucks.
Oh,
Wow.
It's a long time not riding your bike.
right,
Oh
right.
my
Yeah,
God.
yeah, yeah. Wow. Okay.
Mhm.
Anybody else? Okay, since nobody else got another dare, check this out. I got another one for you. Hold on. What is a trait that you have picked up from your parents?
Hmm.
What is a trait? You know, remember when we were children, right? And your mama always said, wait till you get your own,
Mm.
right? Okay, wait till you get your own. And oftentimes, what we have done to our parents, our kids end up doing to us, right? So, what was a trait? I tell y'all mine. So when I was young, I didn't like whoopings. Okay. And so I really didn't get in trouble that much. But on occasion, when I got in trouble, what I was doing was I was smoking.
Oh,
Oh,
I had to be only like 13, right? My mother was a big smoker. And so when she had these parties, I would just go around and collect cigarettes, okay? At 13, I was just collecting everybody's cigarettes, right? So she said uh, she was upset with my sister. So she sent me to go get my sister, right? So I go over there and mama said, come home right now, and I'm, she gonna whoop you and woo woo wah wah, you go get it and you gonna get on punishment. Well, my mother was looking for the belt, okay? And she
mm.
happened to go in my room and look under my mattress. Well, that's where I was hiding all the cigarette butts, okay?
Mm.
oh,
Oh,
you got
So
caught.
baby, so by the time we got back home, oh my God. So my mother was like, yes, ma'am. He said, what? Well, my sister always covered for me because she always took my whoopings, right? So I
Mhm.
immediately said, well, they my mom, they Demetrius. She said, well, Nene is this yours? Because she was old enough to smoke. I wasn't. So Nisa said, let me just say it like this. Who room and who bed? That's who's smoking.
She sold you out.
So yeah, so that was the biggie, My mother smoked
Mhm.
heavy, and so I had smoked for probably 20 years before I
Did you?
decided to
Oh,
stop.
wow.
Yeah,
Oh, wow.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Wow.
I sure did. Yeah, I sure did. So how about somebody else? What is the trait that you picked up from your parents, one of your parents?
I've got one from my grandma. I got her humor, and it's similar to your smoking thing. I was driving my mom's car to pick up my grandma for dinner. She really liked my mom's cooking. Oh, and by the way, I've got my mom's gift of gab. As you guys may already know, but hopefully it's in a positive way because I always try to make it funny. But what went on here with the smoking was I was, maybe 17. And like Karen, we couldn't even, buy cigarettes legally. So people would give us one. And believe it or not, I was driving mom's car. I had all the windows down. the cigarette was out of there. I washed down the whole car. The ashtray was spotless. To me, you couldn't tell. Well, my grandma gets in the car and she goes, "You gonna give me one?" And I sat there, I'm like, oh my God. But here's the best, she didn't tell my mom. So she didn't
No.
bust me. But when she got in the car, you know, her humor, "You're gonna give me one?" And I'm sitting there like, oh my God. And I don't think I had an extra, but you know, I couldn't believe that that went on. And then her humor too. I always tell the nurses, I have to call a lot of people. I don't have working Wi-Fi half the time. And I always try, because the medical community works so hard, especially for those of us who frequent their offices. And so I try to tell them a joke every time I call them, because a lot of times there can be a problem with this or that, and you have to be your own advocate. But anyway, my joke for my grandma, I think it's the best. Back when she went to doctors, there were no women doctors, only men. And she's in the room. They checked her in. She's waiting for the doctor. He comes in and he says, "Okay, Mrs. Freeman, take off your clothes." She says, "You first." And I never asked her, did he run out the door? Did he blush? Isn't it the best? And I make every healthcare worker, I make sure to tell them that. And also, when I visited her in the hospital, she was only hospitalized once. I had her perfect health till I was about 50. And so she's in the hospital once. And I go to visit her because my mom was working 2 jobs. I was in college and working. I go to visit my grandma and they go, "That's your grandma?" All the nurses. And they go, "She's the best." And they said, "You don't know, we're so jealous when we don't get to take care of her, because it's joke after joke after joke." And generally in the hospital, and yes, she was in pain, but she focused on humor. And she kept those nurses and staff in such a positive mood. And when they told me, you know, she joked all the time, I said, "Yep, believe it or not, guys, she had colon cancer. I took care of her one summer. Do you know it was a pleasure? For 3 hours every day doing that colostomy bag and all that. I didn't know what I was doing. They showed me, but I spent the whole summer and it was a pleasure because I listened to 3 hours of jokes. Her and I weren't concentrating on the reality that she had cancer.
Yeah. Okay, so who else? I know we ain't the only two that got some traits. No? Okay, Sonia.
Yeah, I'll just say for me, from my mother, I got my sense of helping others. Because growing up, I watched my mother, you know, people from the neighborhood would always come to my mother for, they had paperwork that they didn't understand, you know, they had some government paperwork that they didn't understand. They would always come to her for her to help them explain it to them and to fill it out. And she never turned anyone away. You know, they come at 10 o'clock at night with, you know, with a folder full of papers, you know, and she would sit there with them all night and explain each sheet of paper and explain to them exactly what they needed and where they needed to go with it. And so, you know, and so watching her throughout my life doing that, that's something that I've carried with me, that I've done throughout my life, and I've instilled in my children to help others also.
Great.
Nice.
Oh, that's good.
Wonderful.
That's very nice.
Who else? Okay. All right. So y'all don't like the subtle
No,
humor?
I have my father's seriousness.
Woo!
Uh-oh, Eric.
That's where you got it from?
Yeah, girl.
That's where you got it from?
Yeah.
Cause that girl is serious. Okay. She came over to my house. Let me tell you how serious this chick is. They had decided, her and Pat came over my house to put, we were doing the wigs, right? So we were taking pictures of the wigs. She came over my house and she moved crap all through my kitchen, like, oh, we got to move that over. We got to move that over. Oh, yeah. Yeah. She got that shit from my daddy. I was wondering where you got it from.
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't tell you guys. I didn't tell you guys the positive of my grandma. They reversed it. The colon cancer got reversed.
Oh,
That was
praise
a
God.
bonus, and it never came
Mhm.
back.
Praise
Oh,
God.
that's
So
wonderful.
between
That's
me
wonderful.
taking care of her and her humor, it never recurred. And I think that's really cool. But what was
Yeah.
nice is my mom praised me to all the relatives and friends because I was only a kid and it was summertime, and normally you'd be playing outside with your friends when I
Mhm.
wasn't working or doing
Mhm.
day camp. And I didn't do any of that because I took care of my grandma, but it was a pleasure. And then, yeah, like I said, they reversed the whole thing and she never had an incident again. And she still
Wow.
had her humor.
Okay.
She still
Wow.
had that humor.
Yeah. So, okay. So who else? Pam, do you have something to share? Don't be looking all serious. Come on now.
I guess I can only, well, to say this, that you all probably have observed it thus far, but I took I guess my quietness from my mom. I'm one of 6 children, and I think I'm like the quietest one of all of them.
Okay. Okay, good.
And so I guess that's all I have for you right now.
All right. All right. Anybody else? Okay, guys. Okay. So our thing is, let's talk about it. Okay. And so tonight, instead of having a guest speaker, we're going to spend the next 20 to 20 minutes just talking. Okay. I have a couple of things I can ask you to kind of get our conversation going. Okay. So, have you ever felt helpless or you had no control?
Yes.
Okay. You want to talk about it?
Yes.
Okay.
Well, I was diagnosed with multiple myeloma, which is a blood cancer, in 2017. And my oncologist discussed with me what the treatment plan would be. And I received 2 different kinds of, I guess, chemo medicine.
Mhm.
And I was at the hospital. The
Okay.
name of, I was sitting in a chair for 6 to 8 hours and have like 1,600 milligrams of this liquid pumped into me, infused into me. And that was over a course of 2.5 or 3 years. And I was going first every 2 weeks, and it got to a point where the medicine, it was so much in my body, it affected all the joints and all that. And so I was having a whole lot of pain, scared,
Yeah.
didn't know if I was gonna make it through.
Yeah. Yeah.
Praying out to our Heavenly Father to help me. I took some pain medicine, but I didn't want to get addicted to it and having recall hearing horror stories and everything like that. But just to know that God brought me through, because I was in so much pain, and I just said to myself, the medicine had to go somewhere. Swelling, blowing up, this, that, and the other. So much had transpired in my life, but we all know that we have an awesome God, and He brought me through. He brought me through with all the love of our friends and relatives, church, and all that. So.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you for being open and honest. that's powerful, you know. And we do feel like that. And I'm glad that you were able to, you know, lean on the Lord for your strength, you know. Um, I think that it really helps when you accept and be your own advocate about your diagnosis, you know. So yeah, you feel hopeless and helpless, but you still had that spark that I want to live, right? I want to live. And so having just that small spark, okay, became, you know, huge for you to just keep holding on and keep pushing through. Because we all feel like we want to give up at times, you know, and all the time, you know, we feel like we want to give up. Do anybody else have a comment for Pam? Go ahead, Pam.
The intensity of that was, I think it was 2 or 3 years prior to that, I lost my husband from cancer. And so I said, oh God, are you going to take me too? Will my son and daughter, you know, be, what they call them, orphans?
Yeah, orphans,
And yeah, so that was another higher level of intensity. And I mean, I mean, I have a story, I guess, to share and continue with that. That I'm continuing to go along in this journey, and then now I can pretty much kind of add this to my resume as I, you know, try to encourage and inspire other people who may be going through this or who may be going through something else that is traumatic in their lives. That's it.
Yes, good, good, good. Other comments? Hey, Fritchell. I'm looking cute. Okay, so how about this question? I'm not deserving, I'm not good enough. Does anyone have that type of feeling?
I think I did before I had my confidence restored and my self-esteem. I think prior, actually for many years, I found controlling people tended to, like, I want to say target me. Not that I was the victim, but they could tell that I was, like that lady mentioned, I was so giving and had such a big heart. And they would focus on that, irrespective of anything for me or respecting me. And I was so used to that, that I actually stayed in that lower echelon, I want to say, for a very long time. And it wasn't until about 4 years ago, with sadly Doug getting cancer, and blaming me and just hating the world for what happened to him, I decided to literally stand up from being kept in a chair for 10 years and ignored him. And I lost 150 pounds and I started driving again and doing things I never knew I was capable of because I was kept down. And I also didn't want to speak up. I never liked arguing and I wanted to keep the peace. But I've learned that, and then of course, COVID, we have to be our own advocate for so many things. Some people wish I would be quiet, but then again, it's the only way to get what we need, with so many people out of the workforce. So, but I did not have, you know, I didn't have any self-esteem or confidence for a very long time. And I know you guys might not believe it, but I was shy as a child. I was the baby and
I don't believe that.
I was very shy.
I don't believe that. But
I'm serious. And when you talk about a whipping, I watched what they did and I never did it. So my, you know, my mom would always say, "You're Dad's favorite." I wouldn't say I was his favorite. I just watched what they did and knew not to do it.
Yeah, I didn't like whoopings either. But I think, you know, you brought up a good point, Kim, is that, you know, when we're diagnosed, you know, with any disease, you know, and right now our topic is we're talking about cancer. But when you're diagnosed, you have to be your own advocate. You have to start being responsible for you. And that makes you talk up when you're quiet, right, Pam? You know you're not getting adequate treatment, okay,
Yes.
and you
Mhm.
have decided that you want to live, that makes you speak up more.
Mhm.
That makes you speak up.
Oh,
Okay,
yeah.
Wow.
so I have another one. Anybody else have something to add to that? Okay, I have another one. I'm overwhelmed. My life is a mess. Let's talk about it. Ooh, my goodness, y'all look like I just threw
Whoa.
a dart at the top of your head or something. Everybody went there like, I'm not gonna talk about that. I'm not talking about that. That's what we're here for tonight, is to talk about it.
About it.
Maybe we're afraid you don't have 3 hours or something for each of us.
But I know that, see, for me, okay, when you keep it in, it grows.
Yes.
It gets huge, right? And then when you start talking about it, you start putting a form around it. And then that's when you're able to find solutions. But as long as it's rolling in your head, it's like it's never ending. There is no solution, and you're just going on and on. So that's why I brought that one up. I'm overwhelmed. My life is a mess. Okay, go ahead, Pam. See, Pam, the only one that just came tonight. I don't know what the rest of y'all. Come on, Pam.
Okay, well, for me, back to me, this is when I was caring for my husband who was diagnosed with stage 4 cancer. And I said to myself, okay, what happened to stage 1, 2, and 3? And
Yeah.
yes, and the Lord allowed him to live 5 years with that, and I took that on to say that he had 5 more years to spend with me as his wife and 5 more years to spend with his son and daughter. But during the time I was taking him to get radiation and chemotherapy, and it was me and my daughter doing so many things, because he was so young, he did not qualify for many of the medical things that were going on. And I thought that was so horrible. So it was me and my daughter that did so much. And I remember going to Loyola. We had a big 150 truck, and we would get him out of the bed, put his back brace on, get him into the wheelchair, take him out of the house, get him up into the 150, go travel to Loyola, take him out, wheel him downstairs to different locations. This was ongoing. And I said, oh, God, I couldn't believe it, but it was like, okay, if we didn't do it, it wasn't going to get done. And God, as I look back, and that's the important thing that, it's just so real to me. As I look back, all that God brought me through, God brought, my daughter through us. And not one time did she complain and say, Mama, I'm tired of this. Mama, I don't want to do this. But that God gave us grace. God gave me grace to go, to go through this. And I just, when I think back, it's like, wow, oh my God,
Surprise
and I
you.
mean, that was real. I mean, there were tears and all that. And during all that time, my husband told me, he said, Pam, thank you, Pam. Thank you so much for doing this. He said, I love you. He said, I'm sorry I won't be able to have a future, which it was just like a beautiful love letter. So it was like, and at that time, my husband's body was changing and his looks, he had basically it was scary to me. And I say too now that God gave me a higher love to love him through all of this.
Wow.
And and to go through that caring for you know, because we were together, we were married for 32 years. And it whooped my butt really good, you know, in terms of that. And so, I mean, I just say, you know, God took me through all that. And so, I mean, as I said, I'm here today, you know, knowing that God is good. That's it.
Wow.
So
That's
I'm gonna be
great.
quiet. I'm gonna be quiet and let everybody else talk.
No, you don't need to be quiet, you know, because that's what tonight is all about. Okay. Tonight is all about talking about it, you know. And sometimes it's not the good stuff that we want to talk about, you know.
Yep.
Sometimes it's the other stuff that we need to talk about and get it off our chest. I'm having some computer things going on, so
Okay.
excuse, you know,
Okay.
for not, you know, for my camera just kind of going out and things like that. I'm really holding on, guys, you know. So I'm trying to shut things down so I don't freeze anymore, because I know I
Okay.
froze that. So, but that was great. That was great. And I think all of us at one point in time in our life, we can look back and say, my God, I didn't even know how I made it through that.
That's right.
Right?
Right.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. So, you know, let someone else share one of those experiences, like you didn't know how you even made it through.
I'll
Well,
go.
yeah, go on.
Okay, go ahead, Sonia. Mhm.
I'm sorry. I'll go. I'll say back in 2011, my older brother passed away from cancer. And he'd been suffering with for a couple of years. And then 3 months later, my father passed away from colon cancer. And I think for both of them, you know, because they were so close together, I didn't process, you know, I didn't process it fully at all. You know, I kind of shoved it in a box and pushed it under the bed, so to speak. And so, but what that did, you know, it started manifesting into depression. And so I would find myself just sitting on the couch all day, or if I would go to work, I would go to work. As soon as I would come home, I get on the couch or get in the bed. I wouldn't do anything on the weekends. I wouldn't do anything with my children, because I didn't process the losses. And then in 2019, my mother passed away the day before my birthday, and I was on the plane, and when I landed, my nephew lived there. She's gone. You know, I was trying to get to the hospital, you know, and so for that, it was, you know, that became, you know, after they came back from the funeral, I just wasn't doing anything. I couldn't function, you know, I couldn't do much of anything. I stayed in the house all day, in the bed all day, every day, just not doing anything, because I just couldn't, because, my mother she was everything, and it was so unexpected. And so I just couldn't understand, like, God, why would you take her? But then, I had, remind myself, God does everything in his own time, but going through that, I realized, I needed some help. And so, I went to counseling, and then I went to a grief group. And, and through the therapy with the grief group, I was able to unpack, my brother's passing, my father passing, and my mother. And, I learned how to, to cope when I would get the feelings of not wanting to do anything, just wanting to sit in front of the TV all day long. I learned how to cope with that. And so that when 6 months later, when I was diagnosed with my cancer, and the doctors throwing all these big names and things at me that I'm trying to process, I think I think Patricia said earlier, God gave me the grace to kind of calm my mind and say, I'm here with you. You're not alone. I'm going through this with you. And I was able to not retreat back into, the depression you know, those dark days, those dark moments, you know. And so
Mhm.
going through that, I was able to be present and listen to the doctors and understand what I was going through, and, you know, what was going on with my body and what they needed to do for the surgery. Because, you know, if I hadn't had that surgery, I would have been gone. You know,
Right.
I wouldn't be here.
Right, right, right.
That surgery
right.
was a killer. And,
Yeah.
you know, but I think, you know, through all the loss and the grief, you know, God prepared me for the moment that I would need him the most,
Yes.
you know, for my own
That's right.
health.
That's
So,
right.
you know,
That's
that's
right.
why I'm
That's
grateful.
that's really, really good.
Mhm.
Like one of the things that I like to share, if my camera can stay on, one of the things I like to share is that when we constantly throw stuff under the rug, right? Oh, it's okay. You know, you have hurt, you have anxiety, you have anger, and you kind of push it under the rug because you don't want to make any waves, you know. You know, well, we just barely getting along, so I really don't want to make any waves. The more you push, you end up with, you know, a mountain,
Mhm.
right? And
That's right.
then you explode.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Right? You explode or you retreat, as Sonia was saying, you go into that depression. I don't want to do things, I just want to retreat from life. That way, I don't want to talk to nobody, I don't want to do anything, you know, and then that way I'm not responsible. You know, I don't want to be responsible no more,
Yeah.
you know. As
Exactly.
as women, you know, we do a lot. You know, we do a lot and we push it under the rug. Oh, well, she didn't wash the dishes, we push it under the rug. And he said he was going to do this and he didn't, and we push it under the rug. He said he was going to go with me to treatment and then he changed his mind. We push it under the rug. So let's and I gave this presentation last night at the VLC Breast Cancer Collaborative, and the presentation was on self-care, self-care for navigators and caregivers. But I think we can look at some of that for self-care for ourselves, right? So self-care. What are some of the things that you guys think self-care is?
Taking time for yourself.
Okay. What else?
Pausing.
Exercising, eating well,
Eating well,
exercising. Mhm.
exercising. Okay.
Being in a healthy state of mind.
That's right.
Yes. Yes, I like that. Healthy state of mind.
Mhm.
What does that mean for you? Because we recognize that that can be different for
For
all of us,
everybody. Yep.
That's
right?
right.
So my self-care can be me taking time to have a bubble bath with candles, right?
That's
And
Mhm.
then your self-care can be I need to go to the movie and eat some ice cream,
Mhm.
Mhm.
right? So we
Right.
all need to identify for ourselves
Yeah.
what self-care means to us.
Not giving everybody access to you is part of
That's
self-care
Woo,
too.
right.
baby, yes,
That's right.
Ooh, yeah.
yes.
Mm.
You know, willing to say no,
Yep.
Mhm.
right? But also say yes when you need help.
Yeah.
Okay. So say
Live
no
on your
when you're
own
overwhelmed
terms.
and when your plate is already full, we
Mhm.
tend to say, okay, I can do it,
Yep.
right?
You know how much damage that can do to you. You know that.
Right.
Mhm.
You know I know,
You
right?
know that.
But
Mhm.
but then we
Mhm.
but then we also need to learn to say yes, that my plate is full and I need help. But that was
And
a
not
big one for me.
And not to be afraid.
Yes. Or shame.
Mhm.
Or shame. You know, because we superwoman. You know, we the wife, we the mama, you know, we this, we can do the job, we can do this, we can cook, you know, we can go earn the money and the bacon, and then we can come home and fry it up and all of that other stuff, right?
That's right.
So we don't, you know, but we can say, hey, I do need some help. And then, and I'm talking to myself for this one, okay? But it's okay because they don't do it the way you do it.
Mhm.
That's the big one. Why we
Yeah.
don't want folks to help us, right? Because
Right, that's
you didn't
true.
wash them dishes and
That's
put them forks in there the way that the forks are supposed to go in the dishwasher. Okay?
Mhm.
So no, he just messing everything up, right?
Hmm.
Come on.
So
Something
then
as
you do
simple
it.
as
Yep.
right. You
Mhm.
know,
It's
but you
true.
know what my
It's
son
so true.
told me? My
Mhm.
son was like, I think he was like 18 years old. And I said, well, Raymond, you know, I said, oh, I don't want you to wash my dishes because you mess them up. You know what he said? That's why I messed them up. So you don't have to ask me no more.
Mm-hmm.
It's like my dad did. My mom asked for my
Yeah.
dad's help, and he did the same thing, and she
Yeah,
never asked him again.
right. You know, do laundry and he'll put bleach in the dark stuff. You know, he's like, oh, I know you ain't gonna ask me to do it no more. Right? So let's talk about some more ways we can do self-care. I have quite a few of them.
But Karen, also when you said saying no, my thing is saying no and being okay with saying no, not feeling like you have to
Okay.
explain why it's no. You know,
Right.
sometimes, I mean, you know, and I'm notorious for it. No, I
Yeah.
really would, but see, I have to do.
Right.
No, I don't have to explain. I just, no, it's just no.
What you say no is a sentence all by itself, right?
No.
You
Yeah.
know,
Yes.
but you're right. We do often do that. Explain
Yeah.
why we're saying no. But you know what? The more you explain why you didn't know, it's
It's
gonna turn
worse.
into yes.
Yeah.
Well, I think the
Because you
reason
gonna
why,
figure it out. Go
right.
ahead.
And I think the reason why you have to explain is because of you're always there to help whenever it's needed.
Yeah.
So when you say no, it took a lot for you to say no. So you inside you're saying, oh my God. Okay, so no, I can't do it because blah 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 blah.
Mm-hmm.
And all that, you still have a feeling of doubt. Why did I say no?
Of guilt. Of guilt.
Yeah, of
Right,
guilt.
because you like you say, you're
And
so
you
used to doing it. Oh, you so
Yeah,
used to being that person.
right.
right,
And you
right,
still trying to figure out, even though you're
Mhm.
saying no, in your mind, you're
Right.
still trying to figure
To
out
figure
a
out
way to
how
get
can
to
I
do
help
it.
her? Yes,
Yeah.
that's
But
honestly
let me
that is
tell you
true.
this, the moment you say no one time, it comes easy afterwards. I tell you that one. I can tell you that.
Miss Roxanne, Miss
Mhm.
Roxanne.
Yep.
You know,
The
Yeah.
moment
And
your
still,
first no is the best no. So it
no,
gets
you can say
easy.
no, Erica, but still, some of the time, no, I wouldn't say that.
Your
It depends
first
on the
no is your
circumstance.
best no.
No,
Say no after that comes very easy.
okay,
yeah. And I
And the
think
Erica.
first
also,
is the hardest. Go ahead, so
yeah. And I think also when we say no, and then when we try to explain it to them, we try to make them feel okay with us
Yeah,
saying no.
That's it.
exactly.
No.
That's
Yes,
it.
Yeah, because we
that's
feel
it
guilty.
right there.
That's it.
Yeah.
we feel
Mhm.
guilty.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
feel guilty when I
Yeah.
say no. And also, I've got to learn to unplug the phone. I actually once had two phones going during COVID between doctors, legal, and I forget what else. And I was actually taking two calls, and you talk about overwhelmed. And part of why you
Oh
never saw
wow.
me at group was actually it was a positive. The last time I was at group, Karen told me something that stuck with me throughout, besides my humor. And I would just keep telling myself I'm doing the best I can. But I was doing
Mhm.
lawyers' jobs, doctors' jobs. They
Yes,
kept
yes,
thinking I had a
yes.
third reoccurrence of cancer, 49 court dates that he's not done yet still. He doesn't want a divorce. Um, it's, you know, very
Wow.
overwhelming with no
Yeah.
support of any kind. Cause I found I don't meet the criteria of the 5 categories of alcoholic, drug addict, refugee, veteran, or criminal. I've been turned down for so many forms of support groups that once existed in 2019. So
Yeah.
I've been
Yeah.
totally
Yeah.
winging it. But Karen, I have to thank you.
Yeah.
It gets me teared up. Had you not said to me, you're doing the best you can, it really took me far because, and I was even up against 14 attorneys in the last 2 years of his.
Yeah.
3 of my attorneys quit. I didn't hire a 4th. And I went up against 14 attorneys. The law library was closed. And I've made it through. It's not over. But it's all
Yeah.
because you said I'm doing the best I can. And
Thank you. But
I
I
tell
think that's the
myself that.
fuel. Yeah.
Mhm.
So Kim, I think that's the fuel to keep you going. You know, the fight. That's the fight that's in
Yes,
you.
yes.
So let me give you all some kind of definition. Self-care is the process of taking care of oneself with behaviors that promote health.
Yep.
We should do some form of self-care daily with food, chores, exercise, and sleep. Self-care is unique to each person. Self-care may include just setting boundaries
Mm-hmm.
in private and professional life. That's something
Yep.
simple. One thing of self-care when I was writing this up is taking stock of what's on your plate. What is on your plate? You know, we just actually write them down because you'd be surprised all the stuff that you do in one day, right? And then decide is it really important or can somebody else do it, right? This one I love, rebalancing your workload. Remember, y'all, I've been talking about that, you
Mm-hmm.
know, this last year is rebalancing my life. You know, CST was up here and my life was down here. Okay. So, you know, I have to rebalance, delegate. Okay. Have a transition from home to work. So when you get home, you know, all of the stress is not pushed out to your family because you didn't take that time to decompress. So take, you know, I used to go when I got home, you know, I was in a very, very high stress position. And when I came home, I would go in my room, get my tea, and shut the door for about 15 minutes. One time I didn't do that. And I mean, I guess I was like a razor by the time I got home, you know. You know. So my son grabbed my hand and he said, "Come on, mama, go to your room. I'm gonna make you a cup of tea. Don't answer the door, don't answer the phone. Stay in your room until you finish." Because walk through the door. You ain't doing this. You know, I can't believe, you know. And he just like, whew, this woman, she just tripping like a mug. Another one is start a self-care idea collection. And one of the things that came up with that is, you know, hanging out with your girls, you know, or, you know, sipping on your favorite drink and just ask, hey, what is your top 3 self-care ideas? What do you do for self-care? And that's how you build up a collection instead of the same thing over and over and over. Because, you know, after a while, it's like, well, I like a bath, but, you know, so much is going on. That's really not going to be, you know, that's not going to do it for me. Okay.
I
So
think, let me interrupt a little bit. I think you have to learn to enjoy your own company also. That helps.
Yeah.
It sure
Yeah,
does. It
that
helps.
definitely helps.
Yeah.
That definitely, yeah. I enjoy myself. I've always have, even as
Yeah.
a child. Even as a child, because my mother had 9 children. So shit,
Mm.
we didn't have that much downtime, by yourself. So baby, when I got that time by myself, it was like, yeah. So
Yeah.
but yeah, learning to love yourself and be
Yeah.
by yourself.
Yep.
You don't have
Mm-hmm.
to have entertainment all the time or be around other people all the time
Yep.
because you're
Mm-hmm.
feeding off of their energies. And if
Yeah.
their energy is negative, you're feeding
Yep.
off of that
Mm-hmm.
negativity,
Mm-hmm.
right? So stay positive. Find things to do to stay positive.
Mm-hmm.
That's right.
Games, whatever it takes.
Yeah.
Okay.
And you're responsible for your own well-being.
That's
Yes.
right.
Responsible
Nobody
for
else
your
can do it. Own
and so the
well-being.
last self-care definition, I like this, is the fuel that propels mind, body, and spirit.
Mm.
Yes, Pam.
Want to say too that uh, waking up in the morning and just saying yes.
Yes. Thank you,
Mm-hmm.
Lord.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Be purposeful for this brand new day that God has given me.
That's
Yes.
right. That is
Yes.
big.
Yes.
That is big.
Yeah. Well, I went to that women's conference a couple of weeks ago. And one of the things that I learned is chair yoga.
Mm.
Chair yoga.
Chair yoga.
Believe,
Okay.
believe it or not, and a lot of the yoga instructors do meditation at the end, but that's helping me to get more mobile, because my right leg, it just don't want to do nothing. It don't want to, I can't cross my leg or, pull it up.
Mm-hmm.
So,
Really?
yeah.
Wow.
I've been like that. Yeah. So,
Oh.
learning to take care of yourself, something as simple as that, just taking the time, you know,
To love
to,
you.
to,
Mm-hmm.
to love. Yes.
Love yourself.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Love yourself. So, Ali, you can go on and log off, sweetie. You are going to sleep. And I appreciate you staying on as long as you did.
What's the
And so
time difference for him?
He said 14 hours.
Oh my God.
Oh, he's in Pakistan?
Pakistan, yeah. So
Oh,
what time is it now?
It's now 5:15 a.m.
Oh my
wow.
God.
Oh God. You
Oh,
need to get some rest,
go get
dear.
some
He
rest,
don't
partner.
never go to sleep. This man he's texting me on wake up all the time. I was gonna be gone this weekend, and he's still working.
Oh my God.
But thank you so very
Thank
much
you.
for
Yes.
joining us.
Thank you so much.
Thanks,
So
Ali.
yes,
Thank you.
Frenchell and Pat, Ali is my virtual assistant.
Okay.
Yes, and Pat is the vice president, and Frenchell is a board member.
Thank you, Ali. Thank you. Thank you so
Yes.
much.
Yeah, and Cassandra. Yes, I forgot about Cassandra. So yes, thank you, Ali. So okay, guys. Any final thoughts, comments?
I just want to say one other thing back to Sonia when you were talking about the grief, when you went to the grief counseling. I think that is so important. And I mean, that's something a lot of times we don't do. And I'm like, my dad passed a few years ago during COVID. And I really know that I have not to this day really addressed and dealt with that. I know I haven't. So just you saying that was encouraging. And, it's something that is never too late. But when you're talking about self-care, if you're holding on to things and harboring things, you really never will really have self-care. You know what I mean? Not to its ultimate. So I'm glad you said that. And it just kind of brought it to the forefront for me as something to think about.
Yes,
Me
Yeah,
too.
yes.
it
Me too.
definitely helps.
Mhm.
It
And
makes
I'm
a
glad you
difference.
brought it up because my mom died in the middle of COVID.
Mhm.
And it, yeah, that whole closure is missing.
Yeah,
Yes,
You
me
know,
yeah.
too.
she was
Yeah,
she was
me
in a
too.
nursing home when she died, you know. And
Mhm.
so it's just
Yeah.
that finality of it,
Yeah,
you
because you
know.
couldn't be with your family. We couldn't be together,
Right,
and yeah,
right, right,
that was really hard.
right, right, right.
Right.
So
It's like when my mother, it's still hard for me to talk about, and I don't think I really put closure to it because I was going through chemo and my mother wasn't living here. She was living in Central America and she got ill and she said, "When are you coming home to see me?" I said, "Mom, I'm going through these chemo, but as soon as I feel a little better, I'm coming." So I told her, I said, "I'm coming that Thursday of the week. I'm going to get my chemo that Wednesday and come on Thursday." So here I am sitting in my chair having chemo. And the nurse came and said, "Miss Henderson, can I just have a moment of your time?" I said, "Sure, what's wrong? What's up?" She said, "I have some news for you." I said, "What kind of news?" She said, "Your mother just passed away." I said, "No, she did not." I
wow.
said, "No, she didn't." And I said to my mom, "Hold tight. I'm coming. Hold tight."
Yeah,
And that
yes,
really, even today, it saddened me because I
yeah,
wasn't there to see her. She wanted
yes,
to talk to me.
yes, yes,
Yep.
yeah. That's the type of stuff, okay, that we have to forgive ourselves, right?
Yes.
It had
Yes.
nothing to do with your lack of love for your mom or your wanting to be there for her. You were fighting for your life,
Exactly.
I
And you
know.
can't blame
okay?
yourself for that.
You
But at the
cannot
time,
blame yourself.
Erica, yeah, I
I
know.
know.
But at
It's
that
hard.
time,
It's hard, yeah.
because me and my mom were so close, and I
Mhm.
Yes,
always said to her when I left from there, I said, "Mom, whenever you're sick, just call on me. I will be there for you." And then I felt like I failed her. That's how
yes,
I
right. I
like I
know,
failed
I
her.
know, I know.
And I
But
wanted to know,
you,
was she mad that I wasn't there? You know what I mean? I really wanted to know, was she mad that I didn't make it there? Because me and her was so close. And I just felt like I just failed her.
yeah, I
That's how it
feel,
felt.
personally, and I may get my minister to kind of chime in, but personally, I don't think she was angry. When people are on the road to transition, you know,
Mm-hmm.
all of that anger and hurt and all of that kind of dissolves. Okay, it's not. How can I say this? Like for my mom had made a decision
Yeah.
to stop her treatment, right?
Mm-hmm.
Once they do that, they have already accepted that they're going to transition,
Mm-hmm.
and it's okay. It's okay that she was able to transition and you not be there. You don't think your mother understood that you was in treatment, even though you said you would be there? She understood, and she probably, I would say probably, she didn't want you to come and stop your treatment to come and see her.
Right.
So you have to forgive yourself
Mm-hmm.
because there's no forgiveness from your mom. Your
Right.
mom definitely understood, you know, and like my mom said, hey, I lived my life. I'm 88 years old. I ain't gonna get no better. And she started pushing away. Stop answering the phone, you know, she just started pushing away.
Right. So you know what I did while I was there, because I'm feeling all this, right? So I sat down and I wrote her a letter.
Good.
I wrote her a
Good.
letter. I did. I wrote her a 2-page letter and I put it
Good.
there with her. That's
Good.
what I did.
Very good.
Yep.
That's good.
Yeah. And that's one of the things they teach you in the grief counseling that I went to write a letter. You know, and I had, yeah, and that's what I had to write a letter to my father because he was, you know, he was in hospice and I'd signed the DNR and then 6 hours later he was gone. So I had that guilt if I hadn't signed that DNR, you know, so that was part of the thing. And that was one of the reasons at that point where I really shut down because I, you know, in my mind, it was the guilt of why did I sign that DNR if I hadn't signed it. But even, you know, the part of my brain knew that he was in hospice. He was transitioning. He was on his way. And, you know, so it wouldn't have been fair or right to just keep on reviving him. And so I knew that, but part of my heart just couldn't regulate that. So it did. That was part of the guilt, you know, that I had for all those years and why I pushed it under the rug. And when I went to the grief counseling, that was one of the things, that was one of our tasks that we had to do, was to write a letter. And mine was to my father about how I felt. And so, and once you do, it's like a part of you release it.
Yes,
you know,
yes.
once you get it all out, you release it, and you feel lighter. You know, you feel you can breathe again.
Right.
Are you an only child?
Yeah.
Were you an only child?
No, I had 3 brothers.
Were you the only girl?
She's the only girl. When you're a girl, when you're the girl,
okay.
You know that makes a difference. Yeah.
That made the difference. Yeah.
Yeah, and I'm the youngest girl, so it's like, you know, I'm so close to my mother.
Well, I have told people close to me, personally, I have said, I do not want that responsibility because if I got to sign that, you're going to be here forever. That's how I feel about it. Yeah, that's how I feel about it. Yeah. With Auntie Cynthia, I tell her I'm not gonna
It's a tough decision.
It's a tough decision.
No, that's hard.
I don't want
to
let people more qualified to make decisions. Like I have a cousin who's a dentist. She went to medical school, so she could make a decision like that. You know what I'm saying? Like with Hermina, them Vonel is a nurse. Let them make a decision like that. I don't want to part of that kind of decision. I can't live with it.
I had to make the decision.
Yeah, I remember with your mom.
Do
they have grief? Do they have grief groups since COVID? Because every group, I realize I actually have needed that for quite a while. I've been told I've been through a lot of losses and trauma and didn't realize it. And then when I needed the support, it kind of disappeared with COVID. Do they have current groups for grief?
So I know, Cassandra, you know, you can chime in, but Gilda's Club, they used to have grief groups, you know.
Okay.
Do they still have it?
Trauma healing, Karen, what you were part of some time ago. In our 6-week session, there is a session on counseling. Yes, so if you're interested, that information can definitely be provided.
Yeah.
Oh,
so
thank
Pamela,
you.
It's called trauma. It's called trauma healing. And I'm telling you, it's powerful. Yes.
Yes. Her and her husband, Pastor Mel.
Yeah, Pastor Mel.
Yeah, you're right. I did do that 6-week course.
Yes.
Yeah. Trauma healing. So
So we are
that's good
supposed to be
information.
doing that again in June.
Okay.
So
Yeah, send me the information. I'll
I will.
definitely, you know, send it out. You know,
Okay.
on my social media. Yeah. Send
Oh,
it out
wow.
because that was a very and it's Bible based.
Yes, it
Oh,
is.
that's good.
You know,
Mhm.
so yeah, it's Bible based. So yeah, that's real good, Pam. So yeah,
Mhm.
if you send me that information, I definitely
Okay,
share
I
it,
will.
you know, share it with you guys. So are there any
Thank you.
more comments, concerns? This was very good.
No, this was very good. We need to have
Yes.
something like this more often, like just
And
get
you
your
know what?
feelings
Yes,
out.
yes, and we will. So we're gonna
Because
have
you know,
another one
yeah,
next month. We're gonna have another one
Yeah.
next month. I'm not gonna have a guest speaker,
right.
and we're just
Mhm.
gonna have another. Let's talk about it.
Yeah.
And then the other thing is finding the tree on the website. I had two
Oh, I
people
found it. Yeah.
that found the tree,
Yeah.
but the tree is hidden on my website. And next support group meeting, what I would do is put everybody's name that found the tree, okay, and do a spin the wheel, and they will win a prize. I'm not telling nobody what the prize is.
Girl,
Okay?
it'd be a trip.
Girl, I was just finna say, girl, going to Jamaica.
Let it be a trip. I did
Now
not
look, now y'all
Yeah, a self-care
no,
trip. A trip for
well,
self-care.
in that case, I need to take
I
it.
need a trip.
So yeah, so that's what we're doing to get more and more
Oh,
people
God.
engaged is to,
Mhm.
Ali, thank you. He came up with the new design for our support group
Oh,
meeting.
that's nice.
Yeah, he
Mhm.
came up with
Nice.
all of that stuff.
Mhm.
I was like, man, this is good. Okay, you know, and he came up with with the mini newsletter. So some of the things that we're just going to be pumping out on social media, getting us more and more
Mhm.
engaged in the community.
Oh,
So
good,
Mhm.
good.
yeah. So I asked him I gave him about 4 or 5 different topics to research and just come up with some nuggets. No
Mhm.
articles. We don't need whole articles or anything like that. Just some nuggets about specific topics. So if you guys
Mhm.
have any ideas that kind of looking at, you know, triple negative breast cancer, or what does it mean for this? Let's just put that out on our social media because other people probably have questions as well.
Mhm.
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 And instead of just sending out notices about our support group, where my goal is to get more and more engaged in the community.
Mhm. Mhm.
Mhm. So this will help us when we are looking at grants, you know,
Oh, yeah,
uh,
yeah. Mhm. You gotta
and
have a
so
social media presence, yeah.
yeah,
Mhm.
we need to have a social media presence. And then our next step is to get a couple of events going on. Right now. I'm talking with our University of Chicago, YAS group. They want to partner with CST uh, and talk about the young women that's younger than 45 that has breast cancer.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Uh, and
Mm.
so, they've talked to Sandra and I were on a call with them, and they want us to come up with the theme, a place, and things like that, and they will help financially. Uh, you know, so I was like, shit, y'all coming up with the money. We we gonna do something.
Yep, we gonna do something.
And then the second group that we're talking with is Black Health Matters. They had approached us and they want to do an event with us. I've submitted several grants to cover our October Pink Ribbon fundraiser. So hopefully, we're gonna get, you know, somebody to, you know,
Mhm,
to sponsor the whole thing would be really, really great. You
Wow.
know, if we
mhm.
can get someone to sponsor the whole thing for us. And then that way, you know, we can have it free for our survivors and caregivers, and then
Mhm, mhm.
non-survivors and caregivers. Maybe they only have to pay $25, you know, instead
Yeah.
of
Mhm,
$75. So,
mhm,
um,
mhm,
you know, so we're working. We're working. I'm working
mhm,
hard, you know, trying to get us more money, or, you know, getting us in a
mhm.
position, you know, and, you know, I just have to thank you all because Dr. Tamara mentioned when we were on the call with her, she says, Karen, I know you think cancer support team is so small. She says, but your name is out in the community.
Good, good.
Everywhere you go, or everywhere I go, people know about cancer support team. I was
Mhm,
like, wow, okay, you know.
Wow, made you feel good, huh?
Yeah, yeah, it did, you know.
Mhm.
So that's the goal. Oh, my nails is
Mhm.
pretty, girl. Thank you, girl. Yeah,
Let me
mhm.
see, girl.
they are pink. You know I gotta have pink
Yeah, you
nails.
know you like pink. Yeah,
Mhm.
I
I'm
like
gonna
that
change
orange
up
on
one
you.
day. I like this orange.
I think the orange is very good on you. And
I
Mhm.
the
bought I
earrings
bought
are good
this
too.
I
The
bought
earrings
this
are nice.
necklace and earrings,
Hmm.
this set, when I went to the women's conference.
I
Oh,
was
okay,
looking at
nice.
it. I said, I was wondering that was my stuff.
Girl,
Just
you always
See,
think
I
somebody
know
got
you
good
thought
stuff
that was
every
your
time.
stuff. Yeah,
I
this is
swear.
something you would buy.
Frenchelle,
Yeah.
is
Uh,
Is
no,
Frenchelle up there still?
uh-huh. It's
Oh, but she's not hearing. She probably on mute.
there she
Go
is.
ahead. I can go ahead.
Frenchelle, Erica is still on that, jewelry thing. Remember what she told you, right? Okay.
Yes.
I was just talking
Uh-huh.
to Karen. I have
Yeah.
something
She
similar to
told
that.
Karen,
That's what I was asking.
I was wondering if, those were
He
mine.
thought this was mine. So
Yes.
no, I bought this at the Gold Rush. It's beautiful.
It's
It's nice
pretty.
and heavy. It's really
Hmm.
great. You
Yeah,
It's
know,
it's
pretty.
beautiful.
Really
Yeah.
nice.
I bought two sets. You know, I had to buy
Mhm.
a pink set.
Of
You know,
And
course.
I
Franchelle,
know.
your hair
I
is
had,
pretty. Your hair is beautiful, Franchelle. Looks
Mhm.
gorgeous.
Oh,
You're looking all
well,
yeah,
cute
well, thank
today.
you.
Yeah,
yes,
girl.
Uh-huh.
sir.
Yes, you're looking all cute. I was gonna ask, okay, Franchelle, where were you today?
Well, shh.
All right, girl. Keep a little something to
Let's not
yourself.
talk about it. Let's not talk about it. Huh?
Yeah, let's not talk about it. Let's
Is,
not.
is it a secret, friendship?
Uh-huh.
Franchelle, we
Oh,
missed you Sunday. It was very
I
nice.
know. I
It
know.
was
Well, this
nice.
is graduation, prom time,
Yeah,
all of
yeah,
Mhm.
that.
yeah,
So,
yeah.
yeah.
I almost called a boyfriend, but he was
Oh,
married, and I was willing to be the woman. But
uh-oh.
Mm.
that boy, he was like, mm.
Excuse me, ladies, I'm gonna have to get on off. A nice
Okay.
meeting all of
Good
you all.
night.
Nice
Good
to
All
meet
right,
night.
good
you.
night. Take care.
Everybody.
Good
Good
night.
seeing
Good
you.
Good night.
night.
Thank
Bye.
you.
Okay.
Good seeing you, Pam.
So if you guys want to chime off. Those that don't want to chime off, I'm going to turn my recording off.
Yeah, turn the recording off. So,